Hey, what's up, everyone? Cody Brown here from West Virginia Archives and History with today's edition of Mountain State History, School Integration in West Virginia. Following the Plessy v. Ferguson ruling in 1896 that allowed for state-sponsored segregation on the grounds that it did not violate the 14th Amendment guarantee of equal protection under the law, blacks and whites went to separate restrooms, transportation services, restaurants, and yes, schools. These laws are commonly associated with the Jim Crow era, which functioned under the separate but equal idiom, which was rarely, if ever, true. During Jim Crow segregation, the myth was that the races were separated but were provided equal facilities. Yeah, not a shot. Almost without exception, black students were given substandard school buildings and instructional materials. Black teachers were usually paid less than their white counterparts and had more students in their classroom. Doesn't sound very fair, does it? Black codes and Jim Crow laws had been in place across the South since the Civil War had ended, and West Virginia was one of the states where these laws existed. In 1865, a statute was enacted in West Virginia to separate schools for African Americans where there were more than 30 black children in a school district. If average daily attendance dropped to less than 15 per month, the school would be closed for up to 6 months. If less than 30 black children reside in a district, funds were to be used for African American education as the board thinks best. The 1872 West Virginia State Constitution prevented white and black persons from being taught in the same school.
Blacks and whites attended separate inferior schools in West Virginia and across the South all the way up until 1954, when the Brown v. Board of Education Supreme Court case unanimously ruled that racial segregation of children in public schools was unconstitutional.
Unfortunately, this ruling was frowned upon by many across the South. One such instance of backlash occurred at Matoka High School in Mercer County, and here's a short clip from September 30th, 1957, when a group of students at Matoka High School walked out in protest over school integration. This video contains language that is inappropriate by modern standards. These words do not reflect the views of the staff of Archives and History.
Do you think it's wrong for integration to take place here in West Virginia?
Well, according to what the Scripture and God said about it, I think it's wrong.
You have a boy yourself who's attending Matoka High School.
Well, last year when it started out, I just about as soon have taken him to the cemeteries to send him to school with the colored.
Will he go back to classes tomorrow?
I expect to send him back.
What do you think should be done about the integration problem here in West Virginia?
Well, I think it should have been put to a vote and let each state taken care of it by a popular vote.
I understand that a few of the colored boys were hurt by rocks and things thrown at them this morning. Do you agree, and how do you feel about them having to be punished, having to be hurt?
Well, I don't believe in violence at all. I think that it ought to be handled without violence.
Do you think that there'll be more violence?
Well, I think there will be if it continues like it is.
Do you think the state police will be able to control it?
Well, as long as the school kids is all that's involved, they'll be able to control it.
Do you think that there'll be peaceful integration tomorrow?
No, there'll never be peaceful integration nowhere.
Wow, kind of brings it to life, huh? These were the sentiments and reactions that many people had about school integration. I assure you, this is not ancient history. There are people who are still with us today, perhaps even your grandparents, who lived in a time when the color of your skin determined what facilities were available to you and how people openly treated you. Your classroom may be pretty diverse today, but prior to Brown versus Board of Education, that wouldn't have been the case. You may have never even met your other friends. But this life was a reality for so many African Americans during the Jim Crow era. And this chapter of our past remains a significant part of our state and national history. It allows us to see where we once were and where we still need to go. All right, everyone. I hope this video has laid the foundation for you about school integration and the struggle that it took to get there. So make sure to follow up with our DBQ exercise linked in the description below to learn more about school integration in West Virginia and the boycott at Matoka High School. Until next time, for everyone here at West Virginia Archives and History, I'm Cody Brown. Thanks for watching this edition of Mountain State History, School Integration in West Virginia. We'll see you next time.